All right, everybody. So Matt Walsh has decided to take a step in and get involved with what the right has been calling Gamergate 2. Obviously, there's no Gamergate 2. This is not, like, gonna get the same amount of steam, at least in my prediction. The right and these, like, media grifters are very desperate to try and, like, recreate the amount of populist right-wing radicalizing push there was back in the mid-teens for a lot of people. Like 2016 to like roughly 2019 was when a lot of younger people were getting radicalized to the right. That kind of fell apart. The red pills thing happened, but even that didn't get as far as Gamergate did. They haven't really been able to replicate that level of internet culture war thunder again. It's just sort of been a continuous attempt to regain that level of relevance and thunder without ever actually achieving it. So they're desperate now to sort of manufacture Gamergate 2.0. And while this has mostly been a topic discussed by those right-wing media grifters like Geeks and Gamers, what's his name, Nerdrotic, and The Quartering, and many more, Matt Walsh, the boomer anti-video game guy, has decided to throw his hat into the ring on this one. Now, here's the funny thing about this. The right, I mean, by the right, I mean those, like, chuds that make the anti-left-wing media grift content, are not happy at all with Matt Walsh on this. So, in response to the clip we're about to watch, D-Day Cobra, aka Geeks and Gamers, said, Matt Walsh is the first person to highlight wokeness in the video games industry according to him, clown emoji. Then The Quartering, quote, tweets Geeks and Gamers saying, renowned video game hater Matt Walsh is the first ever to report on wokeness in video games, apparently. So, even the grifter chuds are calling out Matt Walsh for this one because they don't exactly like the idea of this anti-video games, like, boomer guy who... I'm pretty sure the guy's gone on rants about how no real man should play video games past the age of, like, 16 or something. Or, like, if you play video games and you're older than 16, you're not a real man. It's why his pull isn't really strong with a lot of young people. It's mostly, like, he's like the new Tucker Carlson, you know? A lot of older people watch him. Like, even the people who are big time talking about this topic don't like Matt Walsh sticking his nose into it. So, the funny thing is, this is one of the few cases in which we're going to watch a Matt Walsh video and his own fans, not just the left, but his own fans are mad at him about it. Like, Matt Walsh isn't even getting support for this take and this segment from his own follower base. They're mad at him. This is like the right-wing equivalent to if, like, a lefty YouTuber uploads a hot take and people get mad.
Here's a statistic that, at least if you were born at any point prior to the 1990s, might be hard to believe. By revenue, the gaming industry is bigger than both the movie industry and the music industry combined. And
that is true. The gaming industry is pretty much the biggest entertainment industry there is.
For the past several years, it hasn't been especially close. The difference is consistently more than $100 billion per year. So video games are a massive market, one that's mostly targeted at young people, of course. But despite those numbers, for the most part, the games industry has avoided mainstream scrutiny. You'll see far more discussion about, say, Sydney Sweeney or Taylor Swift than you'll ever see about prominent video game voice actors and directors who pretty much...
Oh. Dude, no wonder people are so mad at Matt Walsh. He frames this entire thing like the gaming industry has been, like, free of criticism for its wokeness or whatever, and Matt Walsh is coming along to tackle the wokeness in video games. Do you remember how the people like this reacted to getting asked to discuss Gamergate back in the day? Let me see if I can find it. Gavin, this is the guy who founded the Proud Boys. Gavin McInnes, not the current leader, the founder. Gavin McInnes on video games. I remember even the Gamergaters back then got mad at him for this, but they didn't know and never mentioned that Gavin McInnes was and is far right. They just called him like an anti-video game journalist, you know? Why does he look like a really skinny, short-haired, short-bearded Walsh here? Like if Walsh was like skinnier in a bad way. I don't know how else to describe it. Like less wide, like fundamentally. I don't know why. It's just jarring. It's like Uncanny Valley. Anyway.
So my buddy Nero got his second bomb threat this week. The first one was a while ago in D.C., and it was at a journalism conference where he was...
This is back before the whole, like, alt-right disowned, what's his name? Milo Yiannopoulos for being, as they call him, a chomosexual. A combination of being a child predator and homosexual. They don't like that he advocated for relationships between young boys and men and is also openly, flamboyantly gay. That combo kind of... They couldn't look past that combo of things, you know?
Discussing Gamergate. This week, it was another journalism conference in Miami, and they were again talking Gamergate. This was with the factual feminist C.H. Summers. And for those of you who are normal adults, you probably don't know that Gamergate is the idea that feminism and political correctness should work its way into video games. The gamers, that's...
He gets everything wrong here, obviously. Gamergate is not the idea that feminism and political correctness should be in video games. That is the furthest from a correct approximation of the issue. Obviously, this guy, with what you're about to hear, kind of indicates he doesn't care about this at all.
It's a movement. Guys who play video games have a name for themselves. The gamers fought back and said, no, your PC doesn't belong in our world. And Summers and Nero say the same thing. This got a bomb threat both times. This time, though, they managed to get most of the talk out, but the bomb threat dispersed the crowd. Some angry social justice warrior against free speech doesn't want this being discussed, so they discussed it outside after they got bomb threaded out. There's a layer of patheticness here, though, that no one is talking about.
This is what got him shit.
I don't care if video games are sexist or not sexist or politically correct. Video games are for little kids. Why are adults playing video games? My brother-in-law got my kids a Batman game for Christmas. They can't play it. It's for adults only. Batman? When I was a little kid, we watched Batman on TV because we wanted to be tough and fight bad guys. Now you're 32 and you're sitting there, I'm Batman, I'm Superman, I can fly. Look at my Wolverine shirt. He has claws. You read comic books? That is for people who are special, okay?
He goes on for a while like this, shitting on like the majority of the thing that right-wingers on the internet base their identity on. This did not fly well, and as you can imagine, this got him a lot of shit back during the Gamergate days. Matt Walsh has been for a long time one of those types of conservatives. When he talks about video games and nerd culture, he's always talked about it like that. It seems he's just been made aware that video games are the biggest media, like, empire in the world. That there is, like, the biggest industry there is, and he now realizes there's a lot of money in talking about it, and so now he is pretending to take it seriously. And even the right-wing grifter, anti-woke in video games chuds are calling him out for it. What a surprising day where I align with geeks and gamers in the quartering on something. So bizarre.
No one knows anything about. Everyone's heard of Lionsgate or Paramount, but almost no one's heard of studios like Don't Nod Entertainment, for
I think most gamers know about Don't Nod, or I'm pretty sure I think most people, like, in general, know about the publisher that owns Don't Nod. Like, once again, he's demonstrating his lack of understanding of the gaming industry fundamentally. Everybody knows about, like, Warner Bros. Or Disney, because those are effectively the equivalent to video game publishers, but in the TV show and movie world. While in the realm of video games, obviously Warner Bros. Owns like its own like gaming, like its own big set of gaming teams, right? Like they have WB Games or whatever. But like, there's EA. Most people know about EA. I think most people know about Activision. I think most people know about Microsoft. These are the parent companies that own those game studios. Don't Nod is like the equivalent to saying people would know what Don't Nod is would be the same as people knowing what the studio that made Breaking Bad is called. Do you know what the studio that made Breaking Bad is called? Not really. You know AMC published it. You know it came from AMC in the same way that you know that Call of Duty came from EA. They're EA, right? No, AMC's not the studio. AMC's what published it. So yeah, essentially, like, he doesn't understand how the gaming industry works, and that most people don't know the names of the game studios that produce the games they like. They generally know the names of the publishers, the really big publishers, unless they're really tapped in. And on top of that, the reason for that is being a fan of a game series or a game franchise is fundamentally different from being a fan of like a movie franchise or a TV show or something like that. You can just go in and watch a new episode or new like entry of a movie anytime in the theater, on TV, on a streaming service, whatever it may be. You just keep up with the show. But if you're a gamer and you play what are the most popular games nowadays, what make the majority of that massive amount of money the games industry makes are live service games. And if you're playing a live service game, you're probably out there constantly keeping up with what the devs are saying, finding out what updates are coming out. Gamers tend to be a little more tapped into knowing who made the stuff they enjoy entertainment-wise. So that's in large part why. But like, everybody knows about the publishers. Gamers know about the studios. While on the other hand, people who like movies tend not to know much about the studios, but everybody knows movie publishers. They all know the parent companies: Disney, fucking Paramount, fucking Warner Bros. Those big companies. They're the equivalent of like your Activisions and your EAs and your Microsofts.
For example, and that's significant because...
And I guarantee you, Matt Walsh has at least heard of Microsoft.
These no-name studios are behind the single most coordinated effort to indoctrinate millions of children through entertainment.
Holy shit. Oh my god. Wait, no way. He's going all out with the studios are bad. The video game studios are the ones trying to indoctrinate people. Now, to be fair, video game studios do tend to be pretty progressive and woke. Now Matt Walsh is talking about how there are studios producing progressive games, and that has to be stopped. Bro, most games are marketed towards adults. Like, the Life is Strange series has had sex scenes in it. It is not marketed towards kids. The Life is Strange series is, like, rated M, is it not? I'm pretty, like, it deals with rape, sexual assault, revenge porn, suicide, murder, kidnapping, sex trafficking, like fucking parental murder, witnessing murder, killing. You can, like, especially in Life is Strange 2, if you go the evil route, you can kill a lot of people, which is pretty awesome. That's my favorite route to go in Life is Strange 2. The Diaz brothers, they deserve to be free and happy together in fucking Mexico, like, not in prison. I will not. I'm not gonna get into it. They're my boys, all right. They're my boys, and they deserve to be free. I don't care if they got to go the evil route for it. Regardless, though, very good game, very good franchise. Not for kids. Very not for kids.
That's ever occurred in this country.
No spoilers. That was a spoiler for one ending.
This effort is maybe more powerful than the teachers' unions, if only because these propagandists mostly work in secret. Even if you homeschool your children, they're not immune to it. You might have heard something about one of the companies behind this indoctrination effort called Sweet Baby Inc. or SBI.
Oh, I have been waiting for Matt Walsh to cover this because his whole thing is called Sweet Baby, right? There's still another Life is Strange game to play on stream? I didn't know that. Anyway. Yeah, I was wondering when he was going to make... Like, if he was going to talk about this, because that... is he going to... What is he going to say about that? He doesn't have the sweet baby plushie on his desk.
Yeah, and in a moment, I'll get into the details about what exactly that organization is doing and who's helping them do it. But first, I want to get the good news out of the way, which is that if there's any silver lining, it's that this effort to indoctrinate children is incredibly ham-fisted. Some of the dumbest people in the world are behind it. So take that studio I just mentioned, Don't Nod Entertainment.
Like, no wonder he's getting shit for this. No gamer who watches this, even if they agree with his politics, can take him seriously, because he's demonstrating a lack of knowledge on a topic that they know in and out, right? Has that ever happened to you before? Like, you watch a YouTuber that talks about a lot of topics you don't really know a lot about, and you feel like you're learning from those videos, but then they get to a topic that you know, and they're wrong. And then you realize that, like, calls into question everything you've ever heard come out of their mouth. We may see that effect happen with Matt Walsh.
They're behind the very popular Life is Strange.
He just as confidently says wrong things about the gaming industry that most gamers will recognize as wrong, at a glance. Just as confidently as he talks about his political values. That's going to resonate with people, I think.
Video game series, which has been played by tens of millions of people. And to give you an idea of how overt the propaganda is in Life is Strange, here's just one mercifully short sequence involving, what else? A racist white guy. There's some backstory about how he kidnapped an innocent Hispanic kid or something.
It's going to be the Border Patrol people, isn't it? Or the guys that, like, patrol the border and end up shooting. Okay, so the people he's talking about, I have to spoil stuff here, I'm sorry. They shot a child and shot one child and then kidnapped both of them, nearly killing one of them, and, take them to a jail cell to be held as, like, illegal immigrants, but they're not illegal immigrants. They're from Seattle. They ran away from home because one of the brothers has superpowers and accidentally, like, blew up their entire house with his, like, omnidirectional super mind blast power. And so the two brothers, the world believing possibly that they were involved in their father and multiple, like, cops and another kid's, like, death/injury, they end up going on the run because they're, like, teenagers. They're like the oldest brother is not that old. Like, even in his place at his age, I would have not known what to do, and I've been worried about going to the police. Like, parents are dead. There's no real guardians or authority you can go to for good advice. It's a scary situation, so they just run away, and that's where the game pretty much picks up. And later in the game, you get to the border, and you're trying to escape America, and you get shot and kidnapped. And these are the people in question. They get arrested too, though, because they shot a child illegally and tried to, like, take them in, thinking, like, they could do some bounty hunter shit. So they immediately get arrested by the cops too. And so they're trapped in a jail cell, the two brothers, or at least one of the brothers. The little brother is getting, like, medical treatment. So the older brother's trapped in a jail cell with the racist couple right next to them, and you get a decision. You can free them when you escape, or you can leave them there. And if you free them, if I recall correctly, they actually thank you and have a bit of a change of heart. Like, obviously, it could just be, like, they realize that, like, you've got the means to hurt them or leave them there, and they're trying to play it cool and save their own skin, but it's implied that, like, they are surprised by you helping them, and that kind of gets to them to a degree and makes them realize they were kind of just pieces of shit. That's the actual story behind what happens in the game. You're not going to hear a correct summary from Matt Walsh, so I might as well tell you the context of what he's about to lie about.
And then this, watch.
Gonna tell the police you kidnapped me.
Nice try.
Never mind, a different point in the game. This is a different point in the game. This is way earlier on when they're still up in Washington, and they're going down the coast. They get to a gas station rest stop, and they go in, and you get the choice to steal food or not. Mind you, you're a runaway couple of kids, you've got a little brother to keep fed, and you don't have a lot of money. And so you get the choice to try to shoplift. Now, regardless of whether or not you shoplift, your presence ends up freaking out. Like, I forget exactly how it goes, but something about your presence ends up freaking out this guy. He wasn't there when you go in and buy stuff, so he doesn't believe that you paid for everything, regardless of whether or not you stole. And he has reason to believe you stole, to be fair, but he takes it way too far and, like, handcuffs you in the back room and says he's calling the police. And the problem is, you're kind of wanted, and so you've got to get out. It's not so much that he's like a racist villain. It's more so that he is an antagonist who is arguably doing the right thing. Like, these two unsupervised kids, like, it probably, even through this means, like, as fucked up as it is, it probably was best to detain them and call the police. Because, like, no good can come out of them being homelessly wandering the country. Like, from his perspective, I think that's a really reasonable view to have. And then they get saved by the Walsh guy. This is a different scenario. They get kidnapped a couple times by, like, racist white people, okay? You know, the part of the game's sort of, part of, like, the tension in the game is the fact that as you get closer to Mexico, you and your brothers start to have a very different perception. And people start to assume you're not leaving the country or from the country, you're trying to break into the country. And so that causes some problems the closer you get to the Mexican border, which is where you're trying to get to, and like out of America. And so, you know, that's just part of the story. But I guess it's woke indoctrination made for kids, as, like, it's just not. I think this game was rated M.
But I know who you are and what you did in Seattle. I saw it in the paper. Maybe I should call ICE to make sure you're a citizen.
You hillbilly. I'm American.
Watch it, punk.
I love how old Life is Strange is,
Whatever.
like, ADR is all fucked up.
Going to jail for this.
Pretty sure the local police will vouch for me over a thug like you.
So,
Where's my brother?
woke?
Wish I knew. Little took off. I'll find him. Don't worry.
If you touch him...
You think I'd hurt a little boy? Guess you didn't have any second thoughts about leading him out into the middle of nowhere, though. That's real safe for a little kid.
Like, even though he's a piece of shit, he kind of, like, the game series, it's definitely woke, but it never really does the whole, like, this person's just a racist piece of shit and that's it. It really doesn't ever do this person's a piece of shit and that is simply it. Except for very select characters. Like in Life is Strange 1. But even, like, the bully characters that are mean assholes, if you go about talking to them right, you can, like, crack them. You can break them, make them, like, spill their guts about, like, their insecurities and what makes them the way they are, and like, befriend them. And have, like, a completely different story arc come out of that than what could have happened otherwise if you, like, say, used your powers to ruin their life or something. The whole point of the game is that depending on your decisions, the story can go differently. Like, not by a lot. There's definitely, like, a general line that it follows. But there's a fair amount of variance. And you can actually make this conversation go relatively okay if you make the right dialogue choices. Him getting kicked in the head there was only because, for some reason, I guess whoever caught this clip or whatever decided to make the insult choice of dialogue, which results in him kicking Sean in the face.
If he's lucky, he won't end up like his criminal big brother.
Just let me go. Please.
You're the reason we need to build that wall. You hold tight.
Now, I guess I lied. I said that it was mercifully short, but that felt like 3 hours long. And I will say,
I love how he insults the game. It's one of the most critically acclaimed acclaimed game franchises there is. Like, people love Life is Strange. Man, he has no idea how many landmines he's stepping on here with his very, I would assume, small fan base of younger gamer fans at this point. It really does seem like like most people in his audience that are younger in the like gamer demographic, not going to be happy with this.
Also, that this is neither here nor there, or maybe it's not. But when I obviously I don't pay much attention to video games. When I started looking into the story we're talking about now and watching some of these videos, I was like, I sort of expected the graphics and just the overall quality to be better now. And then,
oh my God, he's so out of touch. He can't say anything that doesn't make him sound out of touch. He doesn't know about stylized video game graphics. The dude's arguing. So when I looked at modern video games, I expected them to look more graphically impressive. Like, God help us if he sees Iron Lung. Like, he sees some gameplay of Iron Lung or one of those, or what is that one game? The shotgun roulette one, where you're, like, at a table with the monster and you have, like, a shotgun and you gotta, like, do a game of Russian roulette with said shotgun. I forget what the game's called. That one has, like, really old-school stylized graphics. Fortnite with its cartoony graphics. God, what if he sees, like... Oh, my God. What if he showcases a Fortnite trailer and talks about how woke the skins look? There's so many, like, green, purple-haired Fortnite skin characters that look like they would call you racist on a college campus. Is Matt Walsh going to start getting mad about Fortnite skins and Fortnite? I hope to God. Oh, please. I need to hear Matt Walsh get triggered about Fortnite.
Than it is, because really low quality all around. But he says we need to build a wall. That's according to the white racist kidnapping the innocent Hispanic boy. And this is a game that, if Wikipedia is to be believed, received generally positive reviews upon release. Critics praised the story. So we can conclude that the bar is incredibly low in this entire...
Oh, let him say it. Let him insult all games and gamers.
Kidnapping the innocent Hispanic boy. And this is a game that, if Wikipedia is to be believed, received generally positive reviews upon release. Critics praised the story. So we can conclude that the bar is incredibly low in this entire industry.
Absolutely fucking hilarious. Absolutely fucking hilarious, dude. Literally one of the most iconic game franchises in modern gaming. One of the most... biggest mainstays of Let's Play YouTubers, streamers, just gamers across the board. If you haven't played a Life is Strange game as a gamer, you've watched a Life is Strange game on Twitch or YouTube. Probably my Life is Strange playthrough for many of you. Absolutely hilarious. Like, even if people who are watching this don't like Life is Strange because they think it's woke, they're going to see this and they're going to interpret it as they should, as it is, as Matt Walsh insulting all gamers and the entire video game industry and gaming as an art form. This is the modern day version of that Gavin McInnes clip that I showed you at the start. This is the modern day version of that. And he's going to get the exact same reaction that what was his name? Gavin McInnes did. That clip is not available on any of his channels. I don't believe he stands by that clip. He got a lot of shit for that. I don't think he wants to get that shit again.